What if the show that built its entire identity on criticizing the system is now afraid of becoming part of it? From the very beginning, The Boys was never just another superhero series. It positioned itself as a brutal satire, not only of superheroes but of power, celebrity culture, corporate branding, and an entertainment industry willing to sell anything as long as it keeps people watching. It mocked franchises, empty spectacle, and the idea that morality can be packaged and sold. Recently, a statement from the creator of the show reignited a massive debate among fans, and this time, the criticism didn't come from the audience, YouTube essays, or online forums. It came directly from inside the project itself. In a recent official long-form interview, Eric Kripke, the creator and showrunner of The Boys, openly admitted that he is genuinely afraid that the series could eventually turn into the very thing it was created to parody. Not as a joke, not as marketing, as a real concern about the future of the show. Before we go any further, if you enjoy deep dives into shows, movies, and the bigger ideas behind pop culture, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss upcoming videos. Now let's look at what Kripke actually said. Toward the end of the interview, while discussing the future of The Boys and its expanding universe, Kripke openly addresses a concern that has followed the show's success.
You've created this whole world, and it's an expanding universe. How much are you thinking about where it's all going, and when it will end?
I don't know the answer to when it will end. Look, it's a little intimidating to me. I'm, as I mentioned before, I'm really scared of turning into the thing that we're parodying. So it's just really important to make those stories matter and give them all their own reason for being, and that they don't feel like cash grabs, like they feel like, oh, there's people who are passionate about telling these stories, and that's what we're trying to do. And, it takes a village of really brilliant people. Michelle Fazekas, who's running Gen V, does an incredible job. But I hope that we keep our quality up, or not do it, and I hope we're more selective and we keep the quality going, because I don't, again, it'd be a huge bummer if of all shows, this is the show that sells out, so I'm fighting that really hard.
That statement alone is the heart of the entire controversy, because Kripke is not saying that The Boys has already failed. He's not apologizing, backtracking, or attacking his own work. What he's doing is something much rarer in modern entertainment. He's acknowledging the risk of success. To understand why this matters, you have to understand what The Boys was designed to critique in the first place. The show was built as a response to the endless expansion of superhero franchises, where characters become brands, stories become products, and spectacle often replaces meaning. It openly mocks corporations that exploit hero imagery, media cycles that reward outrage, and audiences that consume shocking content without questioning why it exists. But over time, The Boys itself has grown into a major franchise. Multiple seasons, spin-offs like Gen V, international expansions in development, heavy marketing campaigns, merchandise, a recognizable brand identity, all the things the show originally criticized now surround it, and that's the contradiction Kripke is pointing at. For some fans, this honesty was refreshing. They see his comments as proof that the creative core of the show is still alive, that the people behind it are aware of the dangers and are actively trying to avoid becoming another hollow franchise. To them, this kind of self-awareness is exactly why The Boys still works. But for others, the reaction was very different. A portion of the audience accused Kripke of hypocrisy. They argue that it's easy to criticize the system while still benefiting from it. That warning about selling out doesn't mean much if the universe keeps expanding anyway. To these fans, the statement sounds less like self-reflection and more like damage control. This split reaction is what turned a single interview quote into a larger controversy. Because the real question isn't about Eric Kripke as a person. It's about whether a story that criticizes corporate entertainment can survive once it becomes corporate entertainment itself. This isn't a new problem, but it's becoming more visible than ever. Many creators across film, television, and comics have spoken over the years about this exact issue, about how success changes who has control, how studio expectations grow, how stories that start as personal or subversive slowly get reshaped into safer, more marketable versions of themselves. Often, by the time audiences notice, the shift has already happened. What makes Kripke's comments stand out is that he's voicing that fear before claiming the show has crossed that line. He's not denying the contradiction, he's naming it. And that's why this conversation resonates so strongly. Because The Boys is a show that taught its audience to question power structures, branding, and manufactured morality. Now, those same tools of critique are being turned back on the show itself. The irony is impossible to ignore. A series about corrupt superheroes and corporate manipulation now has to prove that it can grow without becoming corrupt in the same way. A show that mocks selling ideology now has to decide how far it can expand without selling its own message. Kripke's fear doesn't mean The Boys has lost its edge, but it does mean that the tension is real. And whether the show succeeds or fails in avoiding that fate will depend not just on its writing, but on the choices made behind the scenes as the franchise continues to grow. In the end, the biggest villain in this story might not be a character on screen, it might be success itself. Because when even the creator of a satire is afraid of what his creation could become, that's not just a throwaway comment, that's a warning.